For nearly 50 years, officials of the largest empire on earth knelt before a throne and spoke to a curtain. They never saw her face. They only ever heard her voice. Ambassadors traveled thousands of miles to negotiate with an empire and were received, in the end, by a piece of silk and a voice they were never permitted to see the source of. Behind that curtain sat the most powerful woman in Chinese history. 4 emperors sat in front of her during her lifetime. Every one of them ruled with her permission, or not at all. By the time she dies, the empire around her is in genuine collapse. Foreign powers occupy Chinese ports. The treasury is empty. Wars have been lost. Provinces carved into foreign spheres of influence. And still, for 47 years, she never once lost control of the throne itself. The system she is born into has one very clear rule. Women serve. They do not rule. Every formal structure of the court is built to make that rule permanent. She enters the Forbidden City as a teenager, one of hundreds of low-ranking concubines. In a palace filled with thousands of people, she is, at first, practically invisible. Then she does the one thing none of the others manage. She gives the emperor a surviving son, his only child to live to adulthood. Everything about her position changes. When the emperor dies, she doesn't retreat quietly the way tradition expects a widow to. She moves fast, builds alliances, and within weeks pushes aside the regents meant to rule for her son. The late emperor's own will names 8 senior regents to rule for the child, deliberately excluding her from any formal role at all. She was never supposed to hold power directly. The regents appointed in the late emperor's will are arrested within days of his death. She has them stripped of authority before most of the court even understands what has happened. She doesn't act alone. She forms a quiet alliance with a senior prince inside the palace, someone with military backing, someone willing to move fast against the appointed regents. The coup itself has a name. Historians call it the Xinyu coup. Its central target, a regent named Su Shun, is arrested while still traveling with the late emperor's funeral procession. She installs herself at the center of power, quite literally. Officials address the child emperor seated on the throne. Behind the curtain sits his mother, and it is her voice they answer to. Her workload by this point rivals any male emperor before her. Petitions, appointments, military reports, all crossing her desk daily, whether the officials submitting them liked the arrangement or not. This becomes the model for the rest of her life. Rule through a child from behind fabric, in a system built specifically to prevent a woman from holding power directly. Within a week of the old emperor's death, the regents he appointed are gone, and every seal of state authority has passed into her keeping instead. It is a remarkably fast reversal. She reads every petition personally. She overrules generals, appoints governors, decides which reforms live and which quietly disappear. The paperwork of an empire flows entirely through her hands. When her son reaches adulthood, tradition says she should retire from politics entirely. She does step back, formally, for a few years. It does not last. The regency is formalized. She rules jointly at first, alongside another senior Empress Dowager, though real authority settles quickly and unmistakably into her hands alone. Her son dies young, without an heir, and rather than let the throne pass out of her control, she selects her 3-year-old nephew to succeed him. The curtain returns. This is Guangxu, chosen specifically because he is a child, and a child cannot rule without her. The arrangement that made her powerful the first time repeats itself exactly. She personally oversees his education, choosing his tutors, shaping the boy who will one day be her greatest rival, without either of them fully understanding that yet. But children grow up. By the 1890s, Guangxu is an adult, watching an empire humiliated by foreign militaries and falling behind an industrializing world. He decides something must change. Officials who served under her longest describe a ruler who understood exactly which reforms threatened her position and which merely modernized the empire without touching her own authority at all. To her credit, she does approve some modernization: new arsenals, ironclad warships, telegraph lines. What she consistently refuses is anything that might loosen her own hold on power. Decades earlier, in the aftermath of the devastating Taiping Rebellion, she backs capable regional generals like Zheng Guofan and Li Hongzhang, men whose military success ultimately saves the dynasty from collapse. In 1898, he launches the 100 Days Reform: new schools, a modern military, sweeping changes to government. It lasts almost exactly 100 days, because she has not gone anywhere. She crushes the movement decisively. Reformers are arrested, some executed, others forced to flee the country entirely. His decrees are revoked almost as fast as they were issued. Then she turns to the emperor himself. He is confined to a lake pavilion called Yingtai. He keeps his title. He loses everything the title is supposed to mean. For the next decade, she governs alone in every way that matters, while the man technically wearing the crown watches the empire he was born to inherit slip further from his reach. Their relationship by adulthood is correct, but cold. He owes her his throne. She has never fully trusted him to keep it without her guidance close at hand. Her personal habits by this point are famous even among her own court. Meals with over 100 dishes prepared for a single sitting, most never even tasted. Funds meant for modernizing the Navy are famously redirected toward renovating her summer palace gardens, a decision historians still cite as a symbol of misplaced priorities at the worst possible time. By the time the Navy actually needs those ships, years later, the fleet is outdated and undersupplied, a shortfall directly traced back to money spent making her retirement gardens beautiful instead. Ground pearl powder daily, elaborate skin treatments, a daily performance of youth maintained with the same discipline she applied to running the empire itself. In 1900, anti-foreign uprisings known as the Boxer Rebellion sweep through northern China. Rather than suppress them immediately, she makes the fateful decision to quietly support the movement. Her decision to support the Boxers wasn't unanimous, even within her own court. Several senior ministers warned her directly that provoking every foreign power at once was reckless beyond calculation. The uprising she chooses to support isn't abstract politics. Boxer fighters are actively attacking foreign missionaries and Chinese converts across the countryside when she decides which side to back. Foreign legations in Beijing come under siege for weeks. It is, by any measure, a catastrophic miscalculation. An international coalition of armies marches on the capital in response. She flees the capital disguised as a commoner, traveling west by cart alongside terrified officials, abandoning the throne room she had ruled from for decades to escape a foreign army. The journey west is humiliating in ways money can't fix. Local officials scramble to feed a court that, weeks earlier, commanded the wealth of the largest empire on Earth. The humiliation that follows is severe, crushing indemnities, foreign troops permanently stationed in Chinese territory. And yet, remarkably, she negotiates her own return to power within 2 years. Right up until her final illness, she continues presiding over state ceremonies personally, refusing to delegate even the smallest formal duties that might suggest her grip had loosened at all. She returns to Beijing, resumes the regency, and continues ruling exactly as before. Few rulers in history survive a disaster of that scale and keep their throne intact. In the years right after the Boxer disaster, something unexpected happens. She authorizes reforms far more sweeping than anything Guangxu had proposed a decade earlier. A new legal code, an end to the old examination system, plans for a constitutional government. In her final years, she surprises many by embracing photography, allowing foreign cameras into the palace, cultivating an image of modern sophistication, even as the empire crumbles around her. Almost none of her private correspondence survives in her own words. Nearly everything we know about her inner life comes filtered through the accounts of men who served or opposed her. She begins hosting formal state dinners in the Western style, an image of graciousness carefully built for foreign audiences, even as domestic reform remains as restricted as ever. She hosts foreign diplomats' wives at court, presenting herself as gracious and progressive to Western observers, even while suppressing every genuine attempt at political reform inside her own government. By 1908, she is 72, seriously ill, and aware her time is running short. And she understands something better than anyone else left alive in that palace. For most ordinary subjects across the empire, her decades in power meant relative stability between crises, even as the court above them lurched from one catastrophe to the next. The moment she dies, Guangxu, still technically emperor, would no longer be a prisoner. He would have every reason to reverse her decisions and reshape how history remembered her. On November 14, 1908, Guangxu dies suddenly. The very next day, she dies as well. Modern forensic analysis of his remains later confirmed lethal arsenic poisoning shortly before his death. Even from her deathbed, she arranges the succession one final time. A 2-year-old named Puyi, with his own father installed as regent. The curtain, in spirit, outlives her. Her funeral is vast, exactly as her 50 years of power would demand. And almost immediately afterward, historians and officials begin arguing over exactly what her legacy actually was. Early Western biographies painted her almost entirely as a villain, a scheming despot who single-handedly ruined China. More recent scholarship has pushed back hard against that simple picture. Some accounts paint her as a monstrous obstacle who single-handedly blocked the reforms that might have saved the dynasty. Others argue she was simply the most competent operator in a system already failing. By the time she dies, virtually every major decision in the empire has passed through her office for decades. Whether that made the dynasty stronger or simply more fragile is exactly what historians still can't agree on. International newspapers of her own era were rarely kinder, publishing caricatures that reduced a 5-decade political career to little more than palace scandal and cruelty. Modern historians increasingly compare her directly to figures like Catherine the Great, arguing she deserves the same complicated, unsentimental treatment rather than either blind condemnation or easy rehabilitation. The dynasty collapses only 3 years after she dies. Whether that timing proves her indispensable to holding it together or proves she'd hollowed it out beyond saving is still argued today. What isn't argued is this. For 47 years, in a system explicitly built to keep women out of power entirely, she never once lost her grip on the throne. 4 emperors sat in front of that curtain during her lifetime. Every single one of them answered, in the end, to the voice behind it. Whatever verdict history eventually settles on, one fact resists every revision. A teenage concubine nobody expected to matter ended up deciding, alone, for nearly half a century, who ruled the largest empire on earth. That seal outlasted the woman who held it, the dynasty she ruled, and every regent who ever underestimated her. It sits now behind glass, silent, exactly the way she once sat behind silk.